Hey there, it's Jillian. We're going to take a look at some angle properties and some theorems for angles. So let's take a look. Again, this is all supposed to be a review, but if it isn't, good for you that you're watching this video and you're seeing what it's all about. So angle sum property is that the sum of the inside or interior angles of a triangle, they add up to 180. So this plus this equals 180. So if we need to solve for x, we know that x plus 72 plus 67 equals 180. Then we know, let's see, this plus this, that's a 9, that's a 13, equals 180. So I just added these two. Now I'm going to do x equals 180 minus 139 because I brought it over to the other side. So x equals 41. Again, if you can't do it in your head yet, because you're going to have to be able to do that eventually, you can just go like this, and you can say, okay, that's 7, that's 10, 10 minus 9 is 1, and 7 minus 3 is 4, and 1 minus 1 is nothing, and it's 41. Okay. Next, do not use your calculator. I'm telling you right now, if you want to be able to do what you need to do and the amount of time it's going to take, they're going to give you to test you, you need to be able to exercise your brain enough to add, subtract, multiply, divide, know your times tables in your head. Okay, next is parallel line theorem. When a transversal, that's just the name of a line that cuts parallel lines, is called a transversal. When a transversal intersects two parallel lines, the alternate angles are equal. We call that the Z pattern. So I want you to see here that this is like a Z. If you're watching from another country that calls this Z, you know what it is. And here, that means that this angle and this angle in the corners of the Z are equal. So angle B equals angle G. So alternate angles here, let's write that down, that B equals G. We have another Z here. Here's sort of like a stretched out Z, this one. So here angle F equals angle C. Okay, so now let's take a look at the next one. The next one says corresponding angles are equal. So the parallel line theorem, which of course we call PLT, because who wants to write all that out every time? We have the parallel line theorem with the alternate angles, the Z pattern, the parallel line theorem with the F pattern or corresponding angles, and then the parallel line theorem with the co-interior angles. Okay, so anyhow, here we've got ZF pattern. So where do we have, let me just erase this, you can see it better. Here we have an F, and under the pieces that jut out there, those angles are equal. So F and H, F equals H. So here you've got the Z, F, and C, Z, F, and C. But then we have some more F's. We have this F that's backwards. So D and B are equal. And then we have two upside down F's. We have this one with this and this. So we have E and G are equal. And then we also have the backwards upside down F, which is A and C from here, A and C. Alrighty, so now that we have that, hang on, it's getting pretty messy. Let me take out the big eraser and really clean this up for the co-interior ones. So now for our co-interior angles, we have this letter C, and these angles are not equal. These angles are supplementary, and supplementary means that they add to 180. So the co-interior angles, F and G, so F plus G equals 180 degrees. And then we have the backwards C, B and C. So B plus C equals 180 degrees. So this is what you need to know about the parallel line theorem. Okay, that the Z pattern, the alternate angles are equal, the corresponding angles are equal in the F pattern, and then the co-interior are supplementary. They add to 180. Okay, next, we're going to solve some questions now using the angle sum property and the parallel line theorem. So let's see here. We know that these three are going to add to, right, 180. So let's write that down. X plus y plus z equals 180. So if you don't know where to start, just start writing down stuff that you know is true. Okay? Now you see these are parallel lines. Even though this is just written here as the base of a triangle, it's still parallel from that little symbol to that one, which means that here we have a z pattern, so z equals 73. And we have to say, oh, actually, I'll go through that in a second. Here is the backward z, so we have x is 54. And then, of course, we know that these three add up to 180, so when we plug this in for x and this in for z, we can find out what y is. So before we do that, I just want to circle back for a second. In geometry, because this is geometry building toward us being able to do trigonometry, right? Just like you crawl before you stand up and start running. What happens here is we need to write in brackets after every line y, as in why. We were allowed to write that. So here, we say these are the angles summing to 180, so we call it angle sum in a triangle theorem. And then this is allowed because of PLTZ, and this was allowed because of PLTZ. So we have to write what, and then we have to write why in order for the whole thing to be complete in math land. Alrighty? Sort of like you would never finish a sentence and not put a period or a question mark or an exclamation mark at the end. You would never start a sentence without a capital letter, just the proper form. This is the proper form. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sub these two into here. So I have 54 plus y plus, oops, not z, 73 equals 180. Maybe you're faster than me. You can just go ahead and solve it. So this plus this is 7 and 12. Oops. Hang on. So now I have y equals 180 minus 127, which is, what is that, 60, 53. Okay? So that's how you solve this. It says solve for the unknown variables. We have found x, we have found y, and we have found z. And it's a really good idea to rectangle off what your answers are so they sort of pop out at you, and certainly so they pop out at the person who's marking your assignments, quizzes, tests, and so on. All right, let's take a look here. Solve for the unknown variables. So here we have two sets of parallel lines which make a parallelogram. These two are parallel as the symbols denote, and these two are parallel as their symbols denote. So we know that we have a bunch of C patterns here. We have this plus this is 180, this plus this is 180, this plus this is 180, and this plus this is 180. So if we know that, we know that this plus this is 180, so we can write y plus 79 equals 180, and of course you now know that we have to write PLTC because we have to write y as in WHY or pourquoi, not this y, and then we have y equals 180 minus 79, and of course that is y equals 101. So when y equals 101, we know that y plus w is equal to 180, and we can solve the same way, and then we can solve this and this equaling 180, or this and this equaling 180. There's another theorem that you may remember, which is the theorem of the parallelogram. It's called properties of a parallelogram. Properties of a parallelogram. which we call POP. And so we know that in a parallelogram, opposite angles are equal, so that'll be 79, and then that will be 101. So you can solve it that way too. I'll just say W equals 79 because of POP, and X equals 101 because of POP. Alrighty, there you go. Okay, now let's take a look at a transversal, which was just like the example that we were given up here. So here we're going to go over another theorem called the opposite angle theorem. So the opposite angle theorem, called OAT, is that when you have two lines that cross, those angles are equal and these angles are equal. So having said that, we know that this is going to be 115. I'm going to write right here in all of these spots what the answer is and why rather than in a line. Not because this isn't the right way to do it, it is, but because I want to just sort of do it right on the diagram so you can see. So this plus this is opposite, so we're going to call this 115 because of opposite angle theorem. We know that here we have an F pattern, so F equals D, so this is 115 because of PLTF. This is 115 because of OAT. Alrighty. Now, we also know that from the C pattern, this plus this is 180. So 180 minus 115 is 65. So that's 65 because of PLTC. And then, of course, that's 65 because of OAT. That's 65 because of F pattern. Here and here, C equals G, so that's 65 degrees because of not OAT. You probably got that one, even though I made a mistake. So that's our F pattern. So that's PLTF. And then that is equal to 65 because of OAT. So it's getting kind of crowded in there, but I hope you were able to follow what was going on. I'm just going to run through it again. We were given this. This is opposite, so it's the same. This is F pattern, so it's the same. This is opposite, so it's the same. Then in here we have a C pattern, so this plus this is 180. Then this is opposite, so that's 65. This is an F pattern, so that's 65. And this is opposite, so that's 65.